Welcome to Aromatic Chat, the podcast that introduces you to registered clinical and certified aromatherapists around the world. Every other week, my Mima sits down with a different aromatherapist to learn about their aromatic journey and how they use their plants that God has given us in their lives and their businesses. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching, and your host is my Mima, Melissa. She is a master transformational coach and a registered aromatherapist.
Hey friends, welcome to this special episode of Aromatic Chat. Originally, I was going to share this episode at a later date, but because my guest has something super amazing coming up later this month, I wanted to make sure you could hear from her as soon as possible. This is podcast episode number 71.5, Aromatic Chat with Emily Carpenter. I was introduced to Emily in 2022 when our mutual friend Robin Kessler connected us so that I could speak at the first annual Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust. Emily is simply a ball of beautiful energy, and an aromatherapist is just one of her many gifts. You'll be so glad you tuned into the podcast today, so let's get started. Emily, I am so glad that you agreed to come on to Aromatic Chat. I'm so excited to have you here for this special, out of sequence released episode, because you have something really, really amazing coming up, and we'll get to that in a minute. But thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Melissa. It's always fun to see your face, your smiling face. So I'm glad we can sit down and have a chat.
Yes, I'm so glad. It feels like it's taken forever to get here, but I know that you are insanely busy with all the things that you have going on, and I'm crazy busy all the time. So I'm just glad we were finally able to connect and get this thing going. The very first thing I love to have people do is just tell us about your aromatic journey and what brought you to this space and this place in time.
Yeah, great. So my aromatic journey started, I don't know when. When I think about it, I've always loved smelling things, right? So my whole life, I smell things. If I smell, clothing and food, and it's a way, we see animals sniffing things, like you can see a dog sniffing things. Why are humans any different? We're not. We use our sense of smell all the time. And so I'd say that I was maybe born into it, because I've always smelled everything. I'm known for that. I'm in my family. It's like that I smell everything, right? So I guess aromatherapy was just a natural thing to do. And so I have a friend that lives in the Catskill Mountains, and she makes hundreds of products. And one thing that she makes hundreds of, she has over 200 or maybe 400 by now. I don't know how many she's up to now. She makes these vibrational mists. And they're just, spray bottles with a combination of gemstones and essential oils. And I don't know what else she puts in there, but they're beautiful. And so I have a collection of them, and I loved every one of them. And so I owned about 30 of them out of her few hundred that she makes, that she formulates. And so I just, of those 30, I just have them on a shelf in my closet, and I can spray them whenever I want to. So I've had those for many years. And when my son was little, I rediscovered them. I found them in a box after 5 years after we'd moved to this house, and I opened it up, and I started using them again, and he loved them, and he hadn't ever experienced that before. And I thought, these are things that I bought for myself, that I got I chose for myself. And it was years ago that I chose them. What if I could help him choose things that he likes that might help him to sleep better, to, whatever the thing was that he might like for them. And he liked the sleepy spray. I had a sleepy one, and he, so he would call it, "I want my sleepy spray, Mom." And I would give him some sleepy spray before bed. And so I started to want to learn more. And so I went to a friend and that I knew was selling essential oils, and she invited me over to her living room, and we sat on her couch, and she got all the oils out and showed me how easy they were, and told me all about the brand that she bought them from. And convinced me, after it didn't take that much convincing, but to buy a kit of essential oils. And so I gave her my social security number and my credit card number. And then I waited for 2 weeks or however long it took for this kit to arrive at my home. And in the meantime, I started thinking, she told me that these are the best oils, that these are, that this company was the only company I should buy from, or it could be dangerous, and that the price was good because I bought the kit. So I got the best price. And I got home and I wanted to know, was that true? Or, is this the only company to buy from? Are there other companies that might be just as good? And do they cost as much? And also, I still didn't understand what I bought. I bought a kit that was predetermined. It wasn't, I did this whole thing to get stuff that was right for my son. And then here I was buying a kit. I had no idea what was in the kit. It was just things thrown together for the masses. Right. So I started doing some research, and I joined a bunch of Facebook groups. I found forums, and I looked for anybody talking about essential oil companies that weren't this one company. And I found a lot of companies that people were talking about. And so I started interviewing them. I started writing to them, asking them if they would mind, doing an interview. And so I had about 20 companies that I interviewed, and I published about 10 of those on my blog that I haven't written on for a while, but Marby Moms was my blog where I was doing mommy blogging. And so it became an aromatherapy blog more than anything at that point on. Started interviewing these companies and publishing them and learning about what should I look for in an essential oil company and what mattered. And so I came up with some great companies and started, when I did these interviews, they sent me oils so that I could experience them for my article. Uh-huh. And so I had now over $2,000 in essential oils, and I still had no idea how to use them. And I remembered my mom saying, be careful with essential oils because you can hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And years before, I had bought some essential oils and never used them because she said that. And I was afraid. I didn't know how to use them without hurting myself. And I didn't know where to get the education or the information. And so I just never used them. And here I was with a couple $1,000s in essential oils. In the meantime, I returned my oils to that company that I originally bought the kit from. It took me about a month to get their customer service to give me the information I needed to return stuff, but I finally got it all returned. And a couple of weeks later, another kit showed up, and I just kept that one because I wasn't going to go through it again, and I didn't get charged that time. But I had all these oils, and so I started looking for a place to get educated, to get some education in aromatherapy. And I would love to have done an online, an in-person class, but there wasn't any close by. And my son was little enough that I didn't want to just, I couldn't leave him, So I found an online school, and I ended up calling. There was a phone number on the Aroma Head website, and I called it expecting to get a message, and Andrea Bouget answered. And when I spoke with her, I really, really liked her energy and just the way she described her teaching. And I knew that was what I wanted to do. So I signed up for that. And then along the way, as I was looking for a school, there was a lavender festival not too far from me. And I saw this website for the festival, and there was a picture of a speaker that was going to be there that was going to talk about lavender. And behind him was a wall full of jars and jars, like a couple hundred jars of herbs. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I want to go there. So I went to his office and I introduced myself, and he said, I don't know anything about aromatherapy, but I have a homeopathy school and an herbal medicine school. You ought to check it out. And so 3 years of homeopathy training with Dr. Moore and 2 years of herbal medicine training with him. While I was, I finished my aromatherapy training first because it was the least amount of time I could set the pace on that one. So I did it as quickly as I could, but there was, the aromatherapy training, homeopathy and herbal medicine, and some Reiki thrown in there. just for fun. So I just got into this. I just wanted to learn all I could about healing and natural healing and the things that plants can do for us. And so that's how I got to there. And so, yeah, that's how I got into aromatherapy.
You brought up so many different points. Number one, the warning from your mom, how easy it is to be drawn into the whole idea of the kit and how easy it is to get these essential oils, and also just how much we don't know when we first start, right? We don't know what we don't know when we first start.
Right.
And then you also brought up your blog and how you just wrote these people and asked if you could interview them. So I was just really curious about that, because it was like, who does that?
Me.
Who does that? Right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect anyone to actually answer me. I didn't really know if I would be happy to get one interview, just somebody to talk to me. And I was really surprised. And they were intrigued by what I was doing, because I wanted to look at the different aspects of how to decide where to buy your essential oils and what essential oils to buy and how to evaluate an essential oil company. And so I got these 8 questions. I think there were 8 questions from an obscure blog. I don't think the blog exists. I tried to find it recently, and I don't think the blog exists anymore. But there was 8 points in there, and I'm pretty sure the information came from Jade Schutz. Like it was, Jade had said these things to look for in a company. So I was like, all right, I had heard her name a couple of times. I didn't really know who she was, but I thought this is good enough. And so I asked those questions and I got answers back. And my idea was to compare all these companies, put them in a matrix so people could look at it and make decisions.
Right.
Because my whole teaching style is to help people to get information for themselves. I don't ever want to give somebody the answer, because there isn't the answer, right? There's the answer for me, just like there's the sprays for me, but for someone else, it's something different. So, I want to give people the knowledge, the information, so that they can go make those informed decisions on their own.
Right. But isn't that the way? Okay. So isn't that the way that it is in our community? Okay. So I have a question. I reach out to Marge Clark over at Nature's Gift or Jade Schutz or somebody, and they answer, right? Which is completely different from the experience you had trying to get these products back to this massive, massive company.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that just the way that it is, though? I mean, like somebody reaches out to me with a question, I answer the question. Somebody reaches out to you, you answer the question. There's not all these layers of bureaucracy that people have to get through.
Right. That's true.
Unlike dealing with a large company.
Right. Yeah. And that's just, I think with a large company, I don't know any other way that it could be. But it took hours on hold and waiting and queues and just to talk to somebody. Yeah.
Right. And going back to the warning from your mom, be careful. You can harm yourself if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
I kind of want to talk about that for a second, because I feel like, we have our multi-level marketing companies that are like, here, use these products. They're amazing. Please go. Let me show you all the ways you can use it. And then on the opposite side, we have aromatherapists going, but be safe, be careful, be safe, be careful, be safe. And I feel like there's a message lost somewhere in there. And I've been grappling with this for a while. I feel like we don't speak the same language as our consumers. As the people who want to come to us, we don't speak that same language. So I don't know if that's something you could talk about.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a big concern in aromatherapy right now. And so I feel like I need to tell a little bit more of my story to get to the answer for you. So
please do.
Okay. So I did all this and I wrote on the blog and I got a lot of views and I did, monthly TV spot, the local morning news, and talked about aromatherapy and natural living and did all these things. And then it just, I just got a little tired of the stuff that I was doing with aromatherapy. It wasn't, I never wanted to be a person that meets one-on-one with clients. I'm a teacher healer. So I want to heal. I want to help people to heal themselves more than anything. And the way to do that is through teaching. So rather than do things for them, I want to help them do them for themselves and learn that there are other what the modalities are, what they should explore for themselves, and find the answers on their own. So with some guidance, obviously, but like guiding them towards the answer. So I stepped away from aromatherapy for a while. I mean, I was helping run some aromatherapy groups on Facebook, and I was very involved for a while, and doing different, talking with lots of different people in the aromatherapy community. I was asked to be a speaker at a summit years ago. I was on a board for one of the professional organizations. And so I was pretty involved. And then one day, I don't know what day that was, because it just kind of faded out. I just stopped doing things in the aromatherapy community. And I thought that was just going to be the end of it. It would be, I gave away most of my oils. I met a woman that sends them away to Haiti, where they can be used in a place that really needs some extra support. And so I sent them off so that they weren't sitting in my refrigerator going just not being used. And so I kind of stepped back, and then what year was it? I was going to say 2021, I believe. I found this program locally called NextCore. Well, no, NextCore is a company. Embark was the program that I was involved in. And it was a thing to help you go from having no idea what you want to do to finding out who do you want to serve, and then what do they need? What is their biggest challenge? And then how can you help them solve that with an online solution? And so I signed up for that, and I was selected to participate. So I was one of the 40 teams that were selected to participate. So we had 6 months in this program before people were cut out. So there were 40 teams to start with, 10 in the end. And so I was one of the teams that was selected to continue. So when I started thinking about who do I want to work with, I came in thinking I was going to do a dating app or something. I didn't know what I was going to do, or something to do with website design, because I'm a website designer. I've, been in business a lot of years. So I thought maybe something to do with that. And then aromatherapist came to mind, and I could not get that out of my head. And so I knew I had to start talking to aromatherapists, and I happen to know a few. So I started calling them up and posting on Facebook, trying to find people to connect with. And I started having conversations and asking, what do you do all day? And what is it that you're, where are your points of frustration? What's working? What's not working? And I started to really talk to them and find out. And I saw the one common thread that went through everybody that I talked to was that there's this issue of misinformation in the world of aromatherapy. And just what you said, it's a disconnect between essential oil users that might buy from, a single company to aromatherapists, because we're not speaking the same language, or actually sometimes even at each other's throats, right? Like there's like this, a fear, I think an underlying fear that is there that keeps that information from flowing. So I wanted to find a way to help that, really to help that. So when I first thought aromatherapist, I thought, I'm going to create an app. I thought it would be an app, and I didn't think it was going to be this thing that it ended up being, but it was really clear and it made complete sense. And I'm like, of course, that's the problem. Of course, that's it. Because I've known that all along from the very beginning. I've known that this is an issue. Mm-hmm. I've experienced it. I've seen it, and I've witnessed it. And so I knew that was the issue. So I started looking for ways that I could help with that. And so that's where Aroma Trust was born, was an incubator, NextCore. The thing that I'm doing now is building Aroma Trust. And so what Aroma Trust is a place for all things aromatherapy, with aromatherapists at the center. So it's a directory of aromatherapists where aromatherapists can get hired as aromatherapists, right? So that people can come and find them. So whether they're just doing consulting, like one-on-one consulting with people, with clients, or maybe they they're writers, or maybe they're formulators, or whatever it is that they do, they can have their specialty listed and get work from that through Aroma Trust. And then also the people that are there, the aromatherapists that are in the directory, can also create content and offer value to essential oil users. So when an essential oil user comes to Aroma Trust, they'll find all the information that they need from and people to ask those questions, because I think that what happens is there's people that buy from a single company and they may only know other people that buy from a single company. They don't know an aromatherapist, and aromatherapists don't know how to get in touch with those people that are buying from a single company. There's just no place for them to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this divide. And so I'm not saying, I don't know if, so where I want Aroma Trust to be positioned is when somebody decides that they want more information, when they say, like what I did. And I said, is this the truth? Is this true? Is there more to it? Is there something else that I should be asking? Then they have a place to go to get those questions answered. I'm not trying to convert anyone to, use an aromatherapist or to become an aromatherapist. That's all everyone's personal journey.
Right.
However, I want people to have a place to go if they want that information, that it's there. So that's where Aroma Trust came from. So yeah, that's Aroma Trust. And so from that, because I was in this competition, really, I mean, we were all helping each other and we all wanted to be successful, but I really wanted to get to that extra 6 months of support.
Sure.
Through this program. And so, because that's where the good stuff happened, right? Like that's where all the good stuff happens, is that extra 6 months in the program. So I created the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust so that we could have a place to gather and have a community of people where everyone was welcome, and that we could connect with each other and start to have conversations. And in a time when the world is pretty isolated, people have became pretty isolated for a long time. The summit was a place for people to come to be together again. And it was amazing. So
it was amazing. Oh my word. It was so great, because it wasn't just sitting through a video and answering questions afterwards to get my certificate that I attended. Right. It was actually a community building experience, because the speakers were there live. Yes, the talks were recorded, but the speakers were there live. And then after each talk, this was the best part, getting to go into a room with the speaker and other participants.
Yes.
And actually talk and communicate and build this community, which I thought was just brilliant. A brilliant platform that you built.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, so my intention with the Aroma Summit was I get a lot of energy from going to conferences and, in-person conferences and doing, really getting, I try to do 1 or 2 a year, just to, doesn't matter even what it is, just to any kind of conference. I've done podcast conference and marketing conferences and, all different things, just to get in that energy, because there's something about being in a conference like that that gives you energy, that makes you want to go out and do more good things in the world. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to recreate that through an online experience. And people said to me, people have asked me, do you think you'll ever do it in person? And I'm not going to say never to anything. However, we have people from 95 different countries attend the Aroma Summit. So mm-hmm. I don't know if we would have had that many people being able to attend. And plus the fact that the basic registration, which is 24-hour access to the videos, was free. So people could, there was no cost barrier. There was no time barrier, because they had within 24 hours, anyone, you can't be there live because you're sleeping. You can still, although unless you're Melissa, because Melissa stayed up the entire conference. I don't know when you slept. or how you did it, but you were there and just like smiling the whole time and providing value in the rooms. It was just, yeah, I salute you for that.
Yeah, that was one of the things moving over here to the other side of the world is I knew that was going to be a thing, that anything that I was able to attend online more than likely would be back in the United States, and I'd have to stay up all night. So fortunately, with my business, working from home, seeing clients from home, I was able to do that, and just power through. I won't lie. There were I think I did miss a couple of sessions.
No, I didn't notice because I missed a couple of sessions too. You can't do them all. You can't do them all at once. You can't be in two places at once, and most of them were doubled up. So yeah,
exactly. And I took some cat naps. I won't lie, but for the most part,
I'm glad you did some self-care because I would.
But you know what? The Aroma Summit for me was self-care, because just like you, it's the presence, being with people that really energizes. I'm an extrovert, so that super energizes me, being with people. If I'm just going to sit and watch a video, I get so drained. But when
I have to watch it at two or three times, two times, the speed just to get through it. So it feels like it's not taking forever. But when there's people there and you're like having a conversation, so, the live chat as the videos are playing, and then the face-to-face interaction afterwards. Yeah.
The conversation. So amazing.
Yeah.
And then it feels like the time just flies by because there's people present. And
it feels like they're, you start to develop friendships. And and what I heard, some of the comments that came out of the Aroma Summit, the original one, were that they felt connected for the first time in a long time. They felt like they found their family, like they found their people.
Yes.
Like, in your day-to-day life, I can talk about aromatherapy all day long to my son. He doesn't care. Every now and then he's like, "Oh, that's interesting, Mom." And I got him to really actually appreciate a couple of things. I made him some sniffy sticks recently, and he likes them, but he doesn't want to hear me talk about it all the time.
Right.
But the summit is 3 days of being able to talk about it and bounce ideas off of each other and ask questions and get answers. It's a really, really connecting and grounding experience, and then an inspirational, because I really want it to be inspirational. And one thing is all the speakers for the Aroma Summit. So last year we had 34. I'm not going to reveal what the number is this year, but we have a lot of speakers this year. And the thing with that is, every speaker that when I interview people, if they would like to be a speaker, I ask them, what is it that you're excited about in aromatherapy today? A lot of times people talk about the same things over and over and over again.
Right.
And so the default for people is to say, I want to talk about that thing again, because that's what everyone wants me to talk about. Or what do people want to hear about? And I say, they want to hear about what you're excited about. What are you excited about? And then that's what we'll talk about. And so the energy level of the speakers is fantastic, because they're excited to be there. They're talking about what they're passionate about, but the passion of their passion, like the most passionate thing that they're working on, or that they just love, and new ideas. Like they're talking about things in a different way than they have before. And the interviews are, interactive too, so that as they're talking, I ask a question, and people commented last year that they loved that I did that, because a question would form in their mind, and then 2 minutes later I'd ask the question and it was answered already. So it wasn't, if you're watching a pre-recorded video without that interactive piece, you don't get to have that opportunity to hear some of those questions answered.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I loved the connections that I made inside the Aroma Summit.
Right.
And as a coach, my passion is helping other people succeed. And some of the people that I met during the Aroma Summit were like budding aromatherapists, or, people getting ready to pivot out of a lifelong career into this thing that they love. Right. And then being able to, on Instagram, in the DMs, meeting with them, encouraging them on their path. And I've watched them blossom since the Aroma Summit last year, just in what they're doing on social media. And I'm tearing up over here because it was really pivotal for so many people. This Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust that you put on. And I love the fact that the second annual one is right around the corner. Can you talk a little bit about the upcoming summit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I just want
without revealing too much, of course.
Yeah, no, I can't reveal too much because there are going to be some amazing surprises that I just don't, until everything is happening. I don't even want to say it because I don't want to jinx anything, but there's going to be some really fun surprises at the summit this year. But I just wanted to say, like, go back a second because there have been at least a few people that have told me, and I wish I could just talk to everybody one-on-one and find out what happened since the Aroma Summit last year, because I know for a fact a couple people have gone on to do their aromatherapy training to become an aromatherapist. They've continued their education. The bonuses that we have, I don't know what the bonuses will be this year yet. Or I can't tell you what they will be yet because a lot of them come in at the last second. So there'll be more coming in. But the bonuses are things that the speakers give away as a gift to the VIP attendees. So if you upgrade your ticket to VIP, then you get these bonuses. And so even just those classes that people are able to take, if they had never taken a class before, thought about taking a class before, you've got these free classes and why not take them? And so I think a lot of people took advantage of that. And people also went on to get their education in aromatherapy and their lives have changed because of it. So I'm so proud of that. If I can say that, I am proud of that, like that came out of it. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted people to be inspired and to go do great things. And so that's why I'm doing it again this year. So the last weekend of April 28th to the 30th, there'll be all new speakers. I would love to have all the speakers back from last year, but one of the feedback things that I received was that people liked that there were new speakers from other places that they'd been. They liked that it was all new people. And so I wanted to repeat that and bring all new speakers in this year. And some of the speakers you might see other places, but I want you to check it out and see if they're saying the same thing you've heard them say before, or if maybe it's a little bit different. I think you might find some new information from people you've seen before. There will be some of my teachers that will be at the summit. I wanted to bring people in that I learned from to be a speaker at the summit. So you'll get to see where the people that I learned from, I want to share with the world because they're not known in the aromatherapy circles as much that I know of, but they're people that I've learned from, not just aromatherapy, but other modalities. And so I want to bring them in because I think an important part of being an aromatherapist, and we're seeing this more and more, is that people are using other modalities alongside aromatherapy. It's not just aromatherapy, but aromatherapy right? It's not aromatherapy it's aromatherapy right. And so in my background is that I trained in several different modalities because I think it's important to know all those things. And when I was in homeopathy school, Dr. Les Moore was my teacher, and he always brought in once a year, he would have us learn about other modalities. So we learned about Ayurvedic medicine, hydrotherapy, chiropractic. I did a session one year on aromatherapy because he had somebody that knew what they knew about it in his class. He brought somebody that knew about it in his class. That was me. I like to bring that to the Aroma Summit also, is bring in some other modalities that people can learn about that makes them want to go and expand their knowledge and think about other things to do. And also it's important. And what Dr. Moore always told us was it's important to know that the solution you have may be a complete solution, but it may not be the right thing for everybody. So you want to be able to do other things with them, but also if it's not with you, you want to be able to refer them. And the other thing is that people come in and they may have tried 100 different things before they show up in front of you. And so when they start talking about those things, it's a good idea to understand what they're talking about. if you haven't experienced that, or at least like tried to learn a little bit about it, you're not going to connect as much with that person when they tell you those things. So it's good to have a basic understanding of many different things, so that when someone comes to you and they are talking about it, and you might be the first person they've ever talked to that understands their whole path.
So if I'm not already signed up to attend the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust in just a few weeks, how do I join? How do I do that?
You can go to thearomasummit.com, and you can just if you're, depending on when you're listening to this, if registration isn't open yet, then you could just say get on the wait list, and if it is open, then you can sign right up. It's free to register for the basic registration, and then you can always upgrade, but just get on that list so that you don't miss it.
Amazing. I love that it's free. Like, anybody can come to this. You don't have to pay, thousands of dollars. Like if you were going to some conference or something, like anybody can come, and really everyone is welcome. You don't have to be an aromatherapist or a budding aromatherapist. I mean, if you're interested in aroma, just in general. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think aromatherapists love it because we're with our people, right? Yeah. We're with our people. Yeah. I always try to think of another word to say, but that's like really it, right?
Yeah. It's our tribe.
Yeah.
It's
right.
Our tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the people that you feel comfortable with. You speak the same language. And so you want to be there, and just they're, friends. We're all, aroma friends, right? So we're connected. And so we want to come together and just have that time together. And then somebody that's an essential oil user coming in and just seeing all the, like, just expanding your mind to all the possibilities, where you're seeing how people are doing research and they're doing clinical work and all these amazing things. I am just blown away by the creativity of people practicing aromatherapy. And so that I challenge anyone to not get some great ideas from the summit. There really is going to be some good things coming out of it.
Excellent. Well, we are coming down to the end of our time, but I did want to give you an opportunity to just tell us a little bit more about Aroma Trust, and how do I access that?
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah. So Aroma Trust is still in development. I was hoping to have everything ready by the summit. We'll see. If not, then, because all my time right now is going into getting the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust ready, so that when Aroma Trust is ready, you're all there to know about it, right? Because it's really a passion project for me. I really want to make that available to people as soon as I can. So if you sign up for the summit, you'll know exactly when everything is coming out. And along the way, you'll get a newsletter called the Aroma Buzz by Aroma Trust, getting all the great things that aromatherapists are putting out all around the world. There are articles and podcast episodes and videos and all kinds of things. So you'll get that as well. And then when Aroma Trust is ready, you'll be ready. Oh, just yesterday, Aroma Trust was approved for a $25,000 grant. Yeah. So, right.
Wow.
So, yeah. So hopefully that will help with speeding the development, because, we are working hard to get it ready, but there are expenses involved in doing that. So this will help with getting it done a little bit quicker and doing it really well. So Aroma Trust has come out of an incubator with a lot of support, and that support is continuing with this grant. So it's really exciting.
Wow. So literally all of your hard work over the last few years is being realized, like
it is
right before your eyes today, right here, here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So I do want to ask you a couple of other questions before we close out. I'm really curious, like, what else do you do? Because like seems like a massive part of your life. But like, what other hobbies or interests do you have outside of Aroma Trust and aromatherapy and homeopathy and what you're doing?
That's a great question. I'm pretty single-minded sometimes. I really, I love learning about healing. I love learning about self-improvement. I meditate every day. I try to really keep do as much as I can to be my best self, really. And so, but I love taking pictures. My son, sometimes to the point where, he's like, Mom, another picture. I love taking pictures of nature, of people. Yeah. And just being with people that I care about. That's really it, the rest of it. And the beach. So I am an avid beach glass collector.
Nice.
I can find the tiniest little piece of beach glass. I think it's a talent. I can find it. And those are my favorites, actually, are the really little ones, or the really tiny ones. They're like little pebbles. But I love beach glass. So that's my,
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Who inspires you?
A lot of people inspire me. I am inspired by anyone that, does what they dream of doing. I admire people that not just think about something that they want to do, but they take action on it.
Beautiful. And then as we close out, I just love to give you the floor, the last word, like if you want to share anything else, if you feel like we missed something.
I hope that you'll check out the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust and come be a part of it. Really, I know we've talked a lot about that, so I'm repeating myself, but I think it's a place like you haven't been to before, unless you've been to the first one. Just a place to really connect with people and to get ideas for what you want to do next. And I think that's what I want to do. So with what makes the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust and Aroma Trust unique is that I'm trying to really build a community of a community, like a functional community that's caring and kind and that is lifting each other up. And so the summit really embodies that because it's a chance for us to really be together. Aroma Trust will also be an extension of that. So the Aroma Summit is once a year, but Aroma Trust will be carrying that throughout day by day. So
beautiful. Thank you so much, Emily. I'm so glad that we finally found this time to get together and have this chat. So excited about everything that you're putting out into the world and this community that you're building. So excited.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. I hope you won't hold it against me. I feel like I'm a pretty intelligent person, but I'm going to lay some truth on you. I was duped. Yep, it's true. Let me explain. I was honored, so honored, to be a speaker at the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust last year. For reals. It was a beautiful time of connection and discovery for not just the attendees, but the speakers as well. There were lasting connections and friendships that came from that amazing event. Recently, I attended another Aroma Summit. I won't lie, when I saw the announcement, I was super excited and I couldn't wait because the first annual Aroma Summit was seriously freaking amazing. I grabbed what I thought was an affiliate link from one of my aromatic friends and I signed up. After I signed up, I was taken to another page where I could upgrade. Now, I thought I was upgrading to the amazing VIP area of the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust, but what I really got was lifetime access to the replays. Then there were some other upgrades I could purchase. Now, I was super confused because it was so different from the first annual Aroma Summit in 2022. And then I got the confirmation email. I couldn't believe it. The entire format had changed. Then I found out that the Aroma Summit I signed up to attend was not the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust. I was really taken aback since the title was the same and the branding seemed the same colors, the same font, almost the exact same logo. Now that I've had a chance to view the branding side by side, I can see that there are a few minor differences, but it was so close to the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust. Emily created such a unique event that I was thrilled to be a participant this year. There was zero hesitation as I clicked the sign me up button. But I realized after the fact that the Aroma Summit I signed up for was not the Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust. Now, I want you to know that there's still time to join the second annual Aroma Summit by Aroma Trust. Simply visit thearomasummit.com and join in. I will be there as a participant this year, enjoying the speakers and connecting with each of you in the chat and the Zoom rooms. I cannot wait to see you there. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Emily Carpenter. I'll be including all of the links mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to Aromatic Chat. Every time you listen, share, and review the podcast, you are supporting the mission, which is to connect people. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching. I'm your host, Melissa, Master Transformational Coach and Registered Aromatherapist. I just renewed my registration a couple months ago. I work with people who are emotionally constipated. I walk beside you as you reconnect with your body, mind, and spirit so that you can heal. You can connect with me on Instagram at Lemon Balm Coaching and on the internet at lemonbalmcoaching.com. I will see you next time with our next episode. Until then, peace, love, and aromatics.